Hey everybody, Jay the Fish Guy here, back again with another unboxing and review video. So today we're going to talk about the Smart ATO Micro from Aqua. This is probably one of my favorite auto top-off units. If I have the option and the customer leaves it up to my discretion, this is generally the ATO that I pick. So today we're going to unbox and kind of go through the parts and pieces. And then after that, we're actually going to do a demo. Behind me, you can see the ice cap sump that I reviewed recently as well. And what we're going to do is I'll fill up the reservoir and we'll put some water into the return pump chamber and kind of mimic a low water scenario and show you guys the ATO in action and how everything works together. So let's get started. Very few parts and pieces for this ATO. It makes it very friendly to get it out of the box and running very quickly. So obviously you got some tubing, so that'll allow you to go from the pump in your reservoir to wherever you're pumping to in your sump. You have a small plastic clip that will clip onto the side of the sump if you need it to hold the tubing in place where you're going to be having the water go back in. You have a classic power brick that provides power for the entire unit. It's not very big, which is nice. It won't take up too much space on a power strip. You have the sensor itself, and it's just amazing how small they made this. They show it on the front of the box, but it's roughly the size of a penny. Has a magnetic mount so that you can just literally right through the side of the sump. Holds everything in place. It's actually a pretty rugged magnet, so you don't have to worry about it getting bounced around by accident. And that goes to kind of this splitter here. The power from the power brick goes in one side, and then the pump plugs into the other. So this is kind of the central point that you have the cords coming out of. Last but not least, you have the pump itself. This is roughly the size of a golf ball. It's pretty small. It's amazing that things have gotten as small as they have, and everything functions and works as it should. I'm not 100% on the head height on these. I've gone, let's see, probably the farthest I've gone is a classic 55-gallon food-grade barrel, which stands about roughly 3 feet high, I think, give or take. And that's enough that when that barrel's full, it's able to pump up and out and over to a sump that's sitting on the same level. I've never tried to have it go any farther than that, but when asked to do that, it worked flawlessly. So it's a great little pump. They also include a siphon brake, so that you can have this in line with your tubing coming from your pump, that if the way you have things set up, there's a concern that it might actually siphon your entire reservoir, you have this in place so that that's no longer an issue. So again, pump plugs in to one side, power brick plugs into the other, your sensor goes where you want it at the water level, and you connect your tubing from your pump to inside the sump. That's it. It's literally that easy. Plug and play and you're up and running. And the only adjustments you need to make is wherever you decide to place the sensor. That's it. Super friendly, super easy. And it's actually, they call it a Smart ATO, and there's a reason for that. If your system, let's say, God forbid, you have a leak and it starts using more water than normal evaporation. So let's say instead of losing a gallon a day, all of a sudden in a very short time period, you've lost 2 gallons. This is enough to know that it's using more water. It'll cut power and it'll actually start beeping and let you know that there's an issue. So just having that all built in to this simple setup, it's not a controller by any means, it's not an Apex, but to have that level of just-in-case safety built in, to me is great. Again, I love this little unit, and I use it quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is put some water in our reservoir, fill up our chamber a little bit, and we'll mimic a low water scenario for evaporation, and we'll show you guys how this works. So, be right back. All right, so we're ready to go for our test. We'll see that we have our water reservoir, our top-off reservoir over here on the left. We have our pump down in there with the tubing that goes up and over and is clamped to the baffle wall there. The end of the tubing is above where our water level is going to be. That's just a precaution to help prevent siphoning issues down the line. They also include a siphon brake in the package as well. If that isn't possible, then you can use the siphon brake. So you can see we have our sensor here. Right now I have it set right at the water level. We'll raise that up as soon as I plug it in and get things running. Initially, when you first turn it on, it goes through a boot up process, so you'll hear beeping, and it'll flash blue to red, and we'll get things running right after that. So that beeping is also the same beeping that you'll hear if it senses that the system is using more water than it should. That's your audible alarm. Also, you'll notice that, like I said, it'll flash blue to red. When everything is running as normal and you're at the correct water height, you have a solid blue light. When it's filling, you'll have a blinking blue light. If it senses that there's an issue and you're using too much water, it'll start flashing the red light. So not only do you get an audible cue with the beeping, you'll also get a visual cue with the flashing red light that should attract attention as well. So either way, you'll be alerted to something has gone wrong, you're using more water, you have a leak, your skimmer's puking, something's going on, you should probably come check. So let's pretend like we've had some evaporation. We'll just raise this sensor up a little bit. And right away, the pump kicks on, and it's going to start filling up until it reaches that set point on the sensor again, and then it'll shut right back off again. Just like that. Really can't get much easier than that. I'll also point out too, before I forget, because the sensor is inside the tank, inside the sump, and you're not looking through the panel, you can actually use it on a solid color panel on your sump. A lot of manufacturers now are using either smoked acrylic or a solid color acrylic in the construction of their sumps. So this allows for that, and you can use it no matter what style sump you have. You don't have to be resigned to trying to find a clear panel, or God forbid if it doesn't have a panel on there that's clear, you'd still be able to use this particular ATO. So once more, just for effect, we raise up our sensor, pretend like we're down on water. Immediately the pump kicks right in, and again it'll just cut right back off again once it reaches its set point. Just like that. Another great smart feature that this has, beyond just the safety of you're using more water than you should, is that it'll actually know when you've run out of water in your reservoir, and it'll actually shut the pump off so that you don't burn the pump out. So just one more great little built-in feature that makes this truly a smart ATO unit. So that's it, guys. That is the Aqua Smart ATO. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. It's really my go-to anytime that I need an ATO unit. But really, really fond of this one. And I highly recommend it if you're in the market and it's in your budget. You won't be disappointed. If you're not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button above. As always, you can feel free to leave comments and questions down below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.